her kindness like a shield. There was a sincerity in her laughter, a warm gleam in her eyes when she noticed someone downcast. She believed that even the smallest acts could spark a flame within another's heart. Most days, she kept her own dreams tucked away like the timeless notion of returning to school to study art, something she had loved when life hadn't been such a tightrope walk, watching from a distance instead, as patrons recounted tales of where they'd been and what they hoped to achieve. But on a Wednesday, when the clouds hung heavy, almost threatening rain, her heart whispered an idea. Perhaps it was a nudge from that flicker of hope she was trying so hard to preserve. A few booths down, an older gentleman hunched over a menu, brow furrowed, while mismatched cuts of silver hair framed his weathered face. He towered, even seated, with sun-drenched skin displaying creases of time. He was a regular, known for saving pocket change to come in for the 6 a.m. special. Elena had often seen him sitting alone, eyes cast down and fingers tracing invisible lines on the stained wooden table. His solitude resonated in her chest, echoing her own longing for connection, for shared meals and easy smiles. Before she could overthink it, she approached his booth, the footsteps radiating a resolve that had been brewing within her. "Hey, Mr. Thompson," she greeted brightly, her voice ringing warmer than the morning sun. "How's this week treating you?" He looked up, surprise momentarily softening the rigidity of his features. "Oh, Elena, it could be better. Things have been tight, but I can't complain. It's a blessing to have a meal like this." It was an honest answer, one that spoke of both pride and struggle. "That it is," she nodded, empathy solidifying her resolve. "You know what? Your breakfast is on me today." His eyes widened, and for a moment they locked. Confusion quickly melted into disbelief, his weathered hands rubbing the fabric of the tablecloth. "Are you sure about that? I don't want to put you to any trouble." Elena raised a hand to stop him, heart racing. Deep down, she felt the weight of the money she could have otherwise kept for herself. Still, she thought, this was the kind of kindness she lived for. "It's my pleasure, Mr. Thompson. You brighten up this place. It's time I return the favor." There was a pause, a heartbeat stolen in time. Then Mr. Thompson's face broke into a slow, incredulous smile. "You're not just a waitress, You're a good soul, Elena. You're making a difference." As she returned to the other tables, a glow of fulfillment spread through her, tinged with a bittersweet edge. She had done something beyond the usual routine of waiting tables, beyond the daily grind of struggle that often left her feeling trapped. In paying for a meal, she had bridged a divide. She'd offered light on an otherwise dreary day. And in that act of kindness, Elena felt a surge of hope, as if the universe was aligning, telling her that this was only the beginning of the ripple her single act could create. Days passed. The humdrum of daily life slipped back in, but the memory of Mr. Thompson's smile lingered. They exchanged more pleasantries in the diner, each word wrapping around her heart like warm wool. Then, 2 mornings later, as she cleared dishes from a busy breakfast crowd, her gaze fell on something peculiar, a brown envelope perched precariously on the edge of the countertop. It bore no name, just a simple phrase stitched into the fabric of its design for someone special. Curiosity tugged her closer. Yanking it from its own precarious perch, she hesitated, feeling a flutter of anxiety. Her heart raced as she carefully opened the flap. Inside lay a crisp check with numbers that seemed to glisten under the fluorescent lights. Taking a deep breath, she pulled it free, her pulse quickening as the realization washed over her. The check was made out to her, for an amount that could cover her rent for months, maybe even allow her to take that art class she had always dreamed of. And just below the signature, delicately scrawled, was one line that brought tears to her eyes: "Thank you for your kindness, you changed my life." In that moment, Elena understood the bond she had forged with Mr. Thompson. The ripple of goodness she had tossed into the world had returned tenfold. She stood there, overwhelmed with gratitude, the act of paying for a meal unlocking a door she never knew existed. All at once, the diner filled with the chatter and laughter of its patrons, but in the calm center of it all, Elena felt something shift: the warmth of connection. the strength of kindness, and the belief that sometimes, all it takes is a single act to change the trajectory of life itself. The din of laughter and clinking plates filled the cafe as Elena stared at the check sitting in her hands, a tangible manifestation of gratitude that felt like a weightless burden. In that moment, her world transformed not just financially, but emotionally. It was like a spring fresh with promise had finally arrived after a long winter. The cold emptiness of anxiety gradually thawed into elation. With renewed purpose, she tucked the check carefully into her apron pocket and turned her attention back to the patrons of Maggie's place. It wasn't just a cafe to her, it felt like a family, each individual part of a tapestry woven from shared stories, joys, and struggles. Over the ensuing weeks, motivated by her own unexpected fortune, Elena began acting more intentionally, inspiring acts of kindness all around her. Fueled by the ripple effects she now intuitively understood, she took extra time to connect with everyone, even beyond the short exchanges she'd savored before. One afternoon she noticed Angela, a young mother sitting at the far corner table, lost in thought with her baby cradled in her arms. Another server mentioned that Angela had recently lost her job at a local shop, and the weight of her financial burdens was almost palpable. Elena felt a tug within her. She remembered what it was like to worry about more than just paying bills. She approached Angela with her most radiant smile. "How are you doing today?" "That little one is a gem," she said, gesturing toward the sleeping child. Angela looked up, surprise flickering in her weary eyes. "Thanks, but things aren't easy right now. I haven't found a new job since I was let go last month. And with the baby, it can get really tight." Elena hesitated, remembering the kindness she had received, the belief that it mattered to extend a hand. "You know, maybe I can help." The words poured out, perhaps with more enthusiasm than forethought. Angela blinked, bewildered. "Help? I don't want to put you out." "No? No," Elena replied, her voice filled with earnest intent. "Just hear me out. I know the owner of a local bakery nearby. She's looking for someone who can help with social media and customer service. It's part-time, and you have such an uplifting energy. I can introduce you. Trust me, you'd be a perfect fit." She saw the flicker of hope in Angela's eyes. "Really? You think so?" Elena nodded vigorously. "Absolutely. And the pay's decent. I just know you'd shine bright there." Days later, Elena watched as Angela walked into the diner with a wide, joyful smile, her cheeks radiant with gratitude. Just a couple of weeks after Elena's nudge, she had landed the job. The regulars welcomed Angela back, pleased by her bright energy, and her confidence seemed to bloom like flowers in spring. The ripple Elena had started didn't end there. Angela's new position came with some flexibility, allowing her to also spend time with her baby. In turn, encouraged by Elena's kindness, Angela decided to pass it forward. She organized a weekend brunch at the bakery, where she collected donations to support local families struggling to make ends meet. The event drew a crowd, and in just 2 hours they raised over $1,800, changing the lives of families in the community. The ripples continued to spread. Elena could hardly keep track of it all. As she served coffee to a new couple at the cafe one day, she learned they were entrepreneurs looking to invest in the local community. After hearing about Angela's brunch success, they connected with Elena, curious about how they could support similar initiatives. "Thank you for being such a huge part of our community," one of them said after Elena had finished detailing Angela's project. "We'd love to fund a series of community dinners to foster connection and support local families. If you're willing to help coordinate, we'd be looking at a budget of at least $10,000. What do you think?" Elena's heart raced. Not only had kindness put another promising opportunity in her path, but it also empowered her to utilize her skills and develop a deeper network while helping so many others at once. Excitement bubbled within her. "Of course. I'd be thrilled to help. I can talk to Angela and see if we can partner on this." In that moment, she felt the world had shifted beneath her feet. The possibilities felt limitless. Just a few weeks ago, she was worrying about her own financial constraints, and now she was on the precipice of something transformative for not just herself but for the community she loved. Elena spent days in whirlwind preparation. She connected with local farmers and vendors who could contribute food, and she brought Angela on board officially. The two women formed a joyful partnership, brainstorming themes and menu ideas. The first community dinner was held at a local park, filled with laughter, delicious food, and a sense of shared hope. They offered pay what you can entries, encouraging people from different backgrounds to come together, share a meal, and spread kindness, just like the kindness that had changed Elena's life. That evening, as Elena stood behind a buffet table laden with vibrant dishes, she caught sight of families reuniting over shared plates, laughter echoing in the air. She felt an overwhelming glow of pride, a sweet ache in her heart. Just then, Mr. Thompson approached her, now a regular contributor to the initiative. "Elena," he said, eyes twinkling, "this is magnificent. The heart you've poured into this community is extraordinary. You've created a space for appreciation, understanding the very fabric of connection." She shrugged off the compliments, brushing a stray hair from her forehead. "I couldn't do this without the support around me. It started with just a meal, and now look at everything it has grown into." His eyes glimmered with something deeper. "It's a testament to how kindness multiplies. You've inspired so many of us to give, to hope again." Soon after midnight, under a blanket of stars, they wrapped up the last of the containers, and Angela guided them both into a moment of reflection. "Elena," she began, the weight of honest gratitude heavy in her voice, "I can't thank you enough for everything. You saw greatness in me when I couldn't see it in myself." A tear slipped down Elena's cheek. She wiped it away, overwhelmed. "And you turned my world upside down with your warmth. We build each other back when we live with love." The months rolled by, flowing into seasons like a tide welcoming returning sailors. The community dinners flourished, receiving grants from the entrepreneurs who found refuge in the friendship the network built. The gasping reviews spread like wildfire on local social media, literally shifting the narrative around their struggles into stories of triumph and camaraderie. As the sun set one more time, Elena found herself standing in the cafe late one evening, cleaning up after hours and soaking in the echoes of laughter that still danced around her, a bittersweet symphony of memories. She thought of all that had unfolded, the uncertainty of daily bills fogged by the glow of kindness, like the promise of dawn breaking against the weight of night. Then, she heard the gentle chime of the doorbell as Mr. Thompson walked in. "Elena," he said breathlessly, holding a letter and handing it to her. "You need to read this." Curiosity piqued. She trusted his beaming presence and tore it open. The letter was from a local grant-making organization that had heard about the transformation stemming from their community dinners. They offered her and Angela $15,000 to expand the program, ensuring that this little oasis of hope would continue to flourish across more neighborhoods and reach families in need. Tears slipped down her cheeks with a renewed burst of gratitude and urgency. In that moment, she understood once more kindness radiated effortlessly, and the universe was responding to their shared heartbeat. Hope surged anew through her veins, flooding her with belief, a belief that no matter how dark the night felt, kindness would always spark light, igniting the fires of connection, understanding, and shared strength among community. With a heart burgeoning with hope, she resolved to use each opportunity to pay it forward, inspire more ripples, and nurture the lineage of kindness forevermore. Elena stood in the back of Maggie's place, heart fluttering against the invigorating news. The letter from the local grant organization felt like a lifeline, a tangible acknowledgement of the warmth and connection she had worked so hard to cultivate alongside her newfound friend Angela. With the $15,000 grant offer in her hands, she sensed that they were not just operating a cafe or organizing community dinners anymore. They were in the midst of a movement. A cultural renaissance woven from the threads of kindness that had blossomed in their neighborhood. "Can you believe it?" she exclaimed, her voice barely above a whisper, as Mr. Thompson beamed in response. "No, Elena, I can't." "This is extraordinary," he replied, his excitement palpable. "Your determination is contagious. It's what brought this community together in the first place." Elena felt warmth blossoming in her chest at the praise, though she still grappled with the reality of it all. "This means we can do so much more," she said, her mind racing. "We can expand. We can create more dinners. Think about how many more people we could reach." Mr. Thompson nodded, a thoughtful smile playing on his lips. "And have a chance to help those families who may feel just as lost as you once did. Your kindness has a way of opening doors, Elena. So does the kindness of everyone you've touched." The next few weeks turned into a whirlwind of creative energy, as Elena and Angela worked tirelessly to bring their vision to life. They met with local farmers and vendors, crafting a menu that featured seasonal produce and regional delicacies. They recruited volunteers from the community, families eager to lend a hand and share their skills from cooking to art, each reflecting a unique facet of the neighborhood's vibrant tapestry. The community dinners soon transformed from simple gatherings into a festival of sorts, filled with dancing, music, and stories shared over plates heaping with laughter and food. Word spread like wildfire, and soon they attracted attention well beyond their immediate neighborhood. On the nights of the events, the entire park thrummed with laughter and camaraderie, children running freely while adults exchanged smiles that radiated warmth. As the dinners grew in popularity, Elena found herself spiraling deeper into newfound purpose. Besides coordinating donations and menus, she decided to use some of the funds to offer cooking classes, a way to empower individuals and families with important skills that would help them thrive. The classes were filled with people eager to learn recipes, share stories, and find community. One night, after a particularly successful dinner, Elena listened to the musical notes of laughter twirling around the space. The eclectic crowd gathered before the stage, where a local band played lively tunes inspired by folk traditions. She turned to Angela, her eyes gleaming. "Look at this, Angela. Can you believe we've created such magic?" Angela nodded, her heart filled with gratitude. "You sparked this, Elena. Your kindness tipped the scales in our lives, and now others are finding joy and companionship in things that really matter." "Yeah," Elena agreed, pondering the series of events that led them here. "I was so busy focusing on money, on making ends meet, but it's shown me it's so much more than that. Kindness and connections are what we truly thrive on." As they basked in the light of the gathering, each shared smile echoed their efforts, two women embodying the dream fueled by generosity, igniting hope in an entire community. It was in this moment that Elena reflected on how much she had grown since she chose to buy that one meal for Mr. Thompson. The act had snowballed into something monumental, reshaping the lives of others along the way. Months passed, and Elena's experiences unfolded like chapters in a rich tapestry. She saw families reconnecting, kindness bubbling to the surface among strangers, and the spark of hope kindling in the hearts of people who had once felt isolated or overlooked. Each new dinner delivered like a love letter to the community's spirit. The gratitude they expressed resonated deeply within her. Then one day, the cafe's cook, a vibrant young woman named Maria, excitedly approached Elena during a lunch rush. "Elena, I heard from Mrs. Calder about a small grant for culinary training programs. Some of the patrons want to help fund it. We could offer scholarships to aspiring chefs from our community." The idea blossomed, and soon everyone eager to contribute became part of the collective dream. The moment they secured the grant funding, Maria received emails from potential trainees. "Look," she grinned, waving her phone enthusiastically. "Every single person is hungry for both skills and connection." Elena surged with emotion, the tears pooling in her eyes not out of sadness but from gratitude. The entire community was feeding off the positivity they had generated, and now wanted to nurture new dreams. "It's unreal," Elena breathed, shaking her head in disbelief. From a single act of kindness. As the cooking classes began, the energy vibrated through the cafe and the community center. Young adults who had struggled to hold on to their passions were now crafting exquisite dishes, learning valuable skills to step into careers they'd only dreamed of. "Thank you for believing in us," one student said, her voice thick with emotion as she plated her dish for the first time. "I never thought I could cook like this." It's all about kindness to yourself, your food, and your community, Elena said, her heart racing. You are all extraordinary. Elena's own journey of growth was matched only by that of the people around her. The cafe transformed over time, becoming a hub of belonging, acceptance, and light. She understood now the deep interdependency they all shared, entwined within each other's stories. Months passed, seasons changed, and the cool breeze of fall brought a new beginning. One evening, after a long day of dinner preparations, Elena wandered outside. She stood on the porch, absorbing the world around her, the lives she'd helped shape, and the continued reverberation of kindness. Just then, her daughter